Rafetseder, a Viennese singer-songwriter. So we'll jump straight in. First question: what brought you into music? What things brought you into music?
I grew up with my dad playing piano at the house all the time. So my first childhood memories would be me lying in bed listening to him playing piano. And they had all this 60s and 70s music at home. So I would grow up listening to Bob Dylan and the Beatles and all kinds of other stuff. And when I was 13, I just took his guitar. I mean, he didn't play much guitar, but he had one. And I just learned how to play. And I took his poetry books because he didn't write his own lyrics, but he set music to other people's poems. And I thought, if he can do it, I can do it. And the first songs that I've written were just, I wrote the music, and the lyrics were poems from, I don't know, English poets. And then I realized that the poems didn't say what I wanted to say, so I started to write my own lyrics.
So you needed a voice for what wasn't being spoken.
Yes, yeah.
Were the limitations of them due to language or gender or anything like this?
No, they didn't. They just didn't say what I wanted to say at that point, and I was getting tired of flicking through the poetry book. Like, this poem is about something else, so gotta write your own.
And it's very powerful. You say from a young age you have these impressions. I think when you're young, these impressions are very strong because you're very open or pure in a way. Music resonates very intensely.
It does. Yeah.
I can identify. I had a similar experience. Do you feel your music is Viennese in any way? Is there some distinctive Viennese quality?
No.
It's you're universal, you could say.
Yeah.
You're an international musician.
Yeah.
And when is there a certain time of day or a mood that you prefer to write?
Well, I only have time.
Or a situation, perhaps.
Yeah, I only have time in the evening, because I'm a single mom and, I have to work all day and take care of my kids. So my time for myself starts at 9 o'clock at night. So that's when I would sit down and write. But I don't write every day. It's more like when inspiration hits. And, I get inspired from different things. So I guess people, if you're in a conversation and you talk and all of a sudden you hear something, you're like, oh my God, this sounds like a song. So, and I write things down. I always write things down that I like, oh my God. And then at a later point I collect this stuff, like little, gems. So I sit down and I build them together like little stones, put them together.
Are there certain themes that repeat in your lyrics?
Yeah, I think that the elements play a role. The fire, wind, sea. I write about the sea a lot, and I like the contradictions in them. And I think lyrics always have to be central in a way, and they have to have a certain grace. And sometimes they come out and I don't even know what they mean. They just, you just put together stuff that sounds well. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this really sounds like, it really has a meaning, actually, and you weren't aware of it.
So you might realize the meaning later, months or even years later.
Yeah, or I look at it after I've written it, like, I forgot what I've done there.
But unconsciously you might feel there is a meaning beforehand, or it's just a big mystery.
Now, if I write from the head, it doesn't work. What works well is if I use dreams for writing. So I always have an image as a starting point. Sometimes what I do was I like taking photographs with my mobile phone. So I walk through the street and I see something interesting and I take a photo. And sometimes these inspire lyrics. So I've got a couple of songs that actually were inspired by photos that I've taken. So it's always very. I think different genres of art are different languages, so you translate them. You've got taking a photo and then you've got making a lyric, so it's different languages and they intertwine.
You mentioned earlier that, for example, bands like the Beatles reach you very early. There's an idea that music you hear as a child and when you're very young is so deep in you that it cannot not be an influence. It will be an influence. Do you feel this?
Yes. Yeah, although I think my songs don't sound like the Beatles at all. Yeah.
Well, do you have particular childhood memories of music or sounds that you think influenced
So
you?
I think it's my dad's music, basically.
What was that like?
Well, he was playing piano. He was playing Dylan a lot on piano. So my songs are very simple musically. And I think it's folk music influenced as well. I remember going on holiday once and they had the Dubliners play all the time. I think that's where Irish influence comes from.
But you don't have Celtic blood as such.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Does Austria have folk music?
Yeah, but they're ugly. I mean,
it's not something.
Yeah, no, it's not. No. Not
and what do you? I mean, I bet your music does have a folk element often. And what is it about folk music that appeals to you?
I don't know. I think it's simple and the tunes are catchy and the lyrics are, there's an element where it doesn't belong to anyone, So it gets passed on by mouth orally, and people make it their own and change it a little bit, and then they change it again, and that's what I like about it. And I think Dylan, for example, he took folk songs and made them his own. He kind of stole from them, but in a way he repeated the tradition. The only difference was that he made money from it, so that wasn't the original idea about it. But yeah.
Do you feel like you own your songs? I mean, what if someone just took one of your songs and started running away with it? So you see it as one thing that everyone owns?
Yeah. Nobody owns music. I mean, we're all just, it passes through us. We're all influenced by somebody or something. We all steal from everybody. So it's part of the whole thing. And I'd be flattered if somebody stole from me.
It might be impolite if they copied every single word, though.
Well, yeah, but that would mean that somebody feels the same as I do. So.
And you say that the scene in Vienna, you spoke to me earlier, that the scene in Vienna is quite good as far as singer-songwriting goes.
It's very good. It's very good. There wasn't a scene for a long time, but I think maybe I'm mistaken, but I think it started in the early 2000s. And there were different open mics starting, so people, there was a scene beginning to develop around that. And all kinds of bands came from that. So then in the last few years, you've had like a real boom of music in Vienna. So when you go out now on a Friday night, you have at least 5 concerts that you could go to easily. And I'm really impressed by all the stuff that comes. Even new people, young people. There's always new people that you don't know, and and they're good. So there's always something good coming. And and there's like a good camaraderie in that sense. Yeah.
Do you think that camaraderie exists is stronger in a smaller city like Vienna, say, compared to here in Berlin or New York, London, for example?
I don't know. For me, it was. I always wanted to be like in Greenwich Village in the 60s. That was like the original idea of it. So I have no idea. No, I don't think it's the question of how big the city is. It's a question of, do people have places where they can gather and places where they can find each other.
Mm-hmm. So back to your songwriting style. General question: lyrics, music first. No rules.
Usually the lyrics first, because I usually have one line, one image that I start writing with. So then I develop it from there. Sometimes I have one line and then I develop the music and the lyrics together. And sometimes I have like different elements of lyrics that I put together and then I write the music. It's very rare that I've got a tune that I then find lyrics to. And that's more difficult to find the right lyrics for the tune. Because the lyrics, for me, the lyrics imply the music.
Do they imply the rhythm as well, the speed?
Yeah. But once I've written the first verse, the second verse is, you know, putting the words together to the music. So in a way, words follow music too. So you can't really say.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah, exactly.
Fluid. And you're currently playing more solo. Is that correct? You haven't played with a band since a year or two?
2011.
Oh, okay, quite a while.
Yeah.
And do you miss playing with a full band?
I do miss playing with a full band.
It doesn't get lonely?
It does get lonely, but it's managing a band is like a relationship with 5 different people or 4. Yeah.
And you get all the money.
And when I play solo, I get all the money. Yeah.
And is part of the reason that you're not working band is just simpler, the dynamics?
Well, the thing is, I would play with a band if I had time, but I continued the band after I had my son. But I first took him to the rehearsals, but once he was old enough to pull out the plugs, I realized that doesn't work anymore. And
But are there certain songs you cannot play solo or so easily? Like it limits your.
No, I write them solo. So
okay, so they're made for that.
Yeah, I don't. I've always wanted to be able to write with other people, but it doesn't work for me this way. I'm a control freak when it comes to songwriting.
Many songwriting partnerships are 2. That's usually the maximum. So.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you have. I often meet people who say the whole band writes something, but in that way, it's more like everybody contributes. I was always envious of that. I always wanted a band sound, but it's not the way I work. Maybe at some point, it'll happen.
So your song "In the Morning I Will Rise," is it also called "Dark Butterfly," or is that a subtitle?
It appears in the chorus.
Oh, okay. And this song, what's? I mean, it's not a nice question to say. What is this song about? But how can I ask it in a better way?
What inspired?
Yes. Thanks.
I get inspired by conversations. So that was a conversation I had, and it reminded me of a dream I had. So it was kind of working together. What people say to me and how it resonates in me. So I wouldn't say it's about a concrete thing. There was one I put together the chorus in a way where I was surprised. That's what I mentioned. I was surprised afterwards how well it worked, because you say "Poison me, dark butterfly. In the morning I will rise," and I was like, "Yeah, I'll get up again." It's like I'll continue with life, whatever happens.
It's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world.
Sometimes when you sing a song, could you sing it with one meaning on one night, and then say another night it will have a different meaning because
sometimes,
you're approaching it?
Yeah. The songs are fluid, Even words are fluid if they're the same. Meaning comes and goes, and old songs acquire a new meaning as well. So
postmodernist approach.
Is it?
And are you a character ever in songs, or are you?
No, I don't write that consciously. I'm always just. They come out. I don't try to be someone else. And I don't try being myself. They come out.
It's just flowing. Do some people say that they don't remember?
I'm like if you knit something, I'm like the needles.
Yeah.
I'm an instrument.
Mm-hmm. Do you recall? Some people don't recall writing songs. It's unconscious. Like, do you remember where and when you wrote songs?
Yes.
And you mentioned dreams a few times. Do you have a method to recall dreams?
I write them down.
Immediately after waking?
Yes.
And they help with a lot of lyrics? Or?
Yes. They're so powerful. You couldn't invent them. I mean, nothing is... because poetry basically is finding words for stuff that is subconscious, right? Mm-hmm. And it's about metaphors and about images. And in the dream, it's all made. Dreams are pure poetry, They're perfect. They always signify something. So it's, there's nothing better than dreams.
They're pure. They're not
Yeah.
quite a pure mirror. A number of
Yeah.
mirrors.
They're always true. They're always the truth.
So, have you ever had a lucid dream where you're in control of your dreams,
Yeah.
moving around and such? What happened in this experience?
I remember I was on the tower and I was about to fall down. And in the dream I thought, hang on, let's do it differently. And suddenly a ladder appeared, so I climbed down the ladder.
And you felt a meaning to this later or instantly, or you stood?
It was kind of euphoric actually, because I was like, I'm not afraid anymore. I know what to do. Yeah. I'm in control of this.
Was it a good feeling?
It was a good feeling.
And you'd like to return to that place?
No, I just know that I have this ability to control my dreams.
At any night, or?
Nah, just sometimes. Yeah.
And you mentioned you have a lot in an earlier conversation. You had a lot of watery imagery in your songs. Water is the element of emotion. So
yeah.
Would you say that is one of the meanings?
I think in my songs the water signifies something. Well, yeah, I was always fascinated by depth. So the depth of the ocean, that was just something that was so far away, and it's always, I'm always drawn to this image, like being at the bottom of the ocean, like 4,000 meters deep or something. And I think that's about emotion. So there's always something deep down in us.
Is it something you might fear?
It's about fear. It's about fascination with fear. It's about strong feelings that people usually avoid because they're so strong. So yeah, for me, it's going down to the bottom of the ocean and really not being afraid.
Thanks, Laura Rafetseder, singer-songwriter from Vienna, for Virtual Magazine and Virtual TV. Thank you. Have a good time in Berlin. And I don't want to tell everybody your website.
It's my name, .com.
LauraRafetseder.com.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Wow, that got really private.